the food is amazing. Like, the main dish that's the most popular is the asado. It's like the Argentine barbecue. So what they have is they have like sausages, they have different types of cow. By the way, they eat all of the cow. Every part of the cow they will eat. There's nothing that they spare when they're butchering it or whatever. So what they do is they get these huge fire pits going, just like a big grill, and they lay out all this meat on it, and they just pour salt all over it. So much salt. When I saw it, I almost gagged because I was thinking, this is going to be disgusting. Like, all the stuff they're pouring on it, but for some reason it tastes so good. It's just, the meat or something is amazing. And what they do is they'll bring out this huge platter of all the cooked meat, like the chicken, the sausage, everything. They'll bring it out on the table, and usually what they'll have on the side is like a little salad of tomatoes, onions, and a little bit of lettuce, just covered in oil and vinegar sometimes, and salt and pepper, and that's it. And they'll put it on your plate, you just grab whatever you want, and they usually have mayonnaise with everything. Different types of mayonnaise, different flavors. You'll put that on your plate, and you'll just scoop this meat in your mouth, and it is the best you could imagine. I miss it every day. I miss it. But that's usually for more like special occasions. But what they usually have is milanesas, which is just a thin piece of either chicken or like steak, and they'll bread it, coat it in bread, and then they'll deep fry it. And they'll give you that with like mashed potatoes or some sort of vegetable. I haven't had lunch yet, so it sounds really good. And they'll give you like a little lemon wedge sometimes that you can like squirt on stuff. And then tomatoes, like, they love tomatoes, they love meat, potatoes, and those are like their main things. And then for dessert, they'll usually bring out fruit, like just a basket full of bananas or oranges, apples. And they love doing canned fruits too, like the ones that are in syrup. They'll just pour out like peaches or pears or something like that. So that's really good. What else? Oh, soups. They make tons of different kinds of soups. And the flavors aren't really spicy, or they're not spicy at all. Like, they're wimps when it comes to like eating spicy stuff. Like, we made Mexican food one time, and they thought it was so hot. The food there is really mild, and all the seasonings are kind of the same. So a lot of pasta too. Tons of pasta. Pasta, like Italian stuff. And pizza, hamburgers. Like a lot of stuff you would find here, but it's kind of different. Like, it's not exactly the same, but it's still really good. You're in a different country, so you can expect a totally different culture. I'd say they are much more, well, obviously when you greet people, they usually greet you with a kiss on the cheek. They kiss a lot more than they probably hug and stuff like that. In my part of Argentina, they talk really slow, which is nice, I guess. They talk slower than most other Latin American countries like Mexico. They'll speak super fast, but here they speak really long, and it's really drawn out and really dramatic sounding, and they'll use their hands all the time and just like, they'll just like use tons of emotions and expression there. And something that was really surprising to me was how open they are about lots of like physical things. And I just remember, like, in my first area, like the first meal we ever had with a member was really awkward because we were like, oh, you just had a baby, and like she pulls up her shirt and shows us this huge scar where she had her C-section, and I was just really weirded out because, I mean, you wouldn't see that here. You wouldn't ask somebody about their baby. They're like, oh, let me show you everything. In fact, she even showed us like a DVD of the whole procedure, so it was really awkward. But yeah, so it's totally different. Just be aware of that. And something else that's culturally acceptable there, that here it's a little different for us, is like women will just openly breastfeed their child, like in church or out in public. Just don't be surprised with that, because I was at first kind of weirded out by it, but it's just something that's normal there. And they love mate. It's this little drink that's kind of like an herb, just this green herb, and they suck it through a straw with like really hot water and some sugar, and they just drink it for hours on end, and they just pass it around and everybody drinks it. Don't mix it up, because they tell you you can't mix up the stuff. You just leave it where it is, pour in the water, sugar, sip it, pass it. So those are the main do's and don'ts and just a little bit about the culture. With regards to being safe, if you were in a wrong place at the wrong time, you'd normally have a feeling like we shouldn't be here or we should leave. And that happened a few times. But they have a lot of places where they're just the more poor areas. And you usually didn't go there too much at night because that's where most of the crime does happen. But those are called the vichas. And they're just kind of like back alleys that go on forever. Like there's alleys and little alleys, and the walkways are super narrow. So like maybe two people could walk side by side. And there's just tons of houses and they're kind of run down, but everybody has a DirecTV satellite on their house. And it's just kind of funny. The lifestyle of living there is a little different. But just staying away from those places at night. I would say just praying a lot for your own protection and the protection of your companion helps. Nunca voy a olvidar de las experiencias que he tenido en la misión en Argentina. He conocido tantas personas como ustedes que quedan muy cerca de mi corazón. Y me acuerdo de la cultura de Argentina, me acuerdo de la comida y de la gente que conocí. Es una experiencia inolvidable.